Jacob, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Super Oz, glad we could continue down this path. The reading of the week was 2 Kings 1 through 22. I remember because last week was 1 Kings 1 through 22, which made it easy to remember. Mrs. Super Oz, what did the author have to say about this week's reading of 2 Kings 1 through 22?
Children of God, I'm sure you have much to be thankful for. You may have many testimonies of God's grace and how He's kept you and provided for you. By the same token, I'm sure there have been days when you were disappointed and frustrated, times when you just weren't sure that tomorrow would bring. But God sustained you and even gave you the power to get back up. I'm a living witness of that kind of experience, and I thank God for the ability to bounce back. Is it always easy? Absolutely not. But it is doable with God's help. In 2 Kings 8, we find the story of a woman who literally had to walk away from everything she owned. This woman had been a faithful servant to the prophet Elisha. In chapter 4, she and her husband built a room onto their home so the prophet would have a place to stay whenever he was in town. Elisha, wanting to repay her, spoke a word over her life, and she and her husband were blessed against all odds with a son. Later, the same son they were blessed with died. But this woman's faith never waned. She went to the prophet to beg for her son's life, and it was miraculously restored. Now, in chapter 8, she was getting ready to go through yet another crisis, and the one constant thing she still had going for her was her faith. Wasn't her faith was strong. Elisha told her to leave her home and find somewhere to live in another land, because the Lord was going to cause a 7-year famine. So here we have this woman who was once very wealthy. She had to go through a period when her child was sick unto death. She had evidently lost her husband, and now she was about to lose her home. Her faith was strong, but she was still going through her share of struggles. Yet, in spite of it all, we see her bouncing back strong. When she got back to town, she went to see the king to ask for the return of her land. She got back everything she had lost, plus the profit the land had produced from the day she left until the day she returned. Let me encourage you as I encourage myself. There will be some ups and downs in all of our lives. Some days we'll feel like we're on top of the world. Other days we'll wonder, where is God? Do not fear. God is still right there. You may not know how or when, but He will give you the power to bounce back.
What is the first question?
Can you identify in any way with the story of the woman from 2 Kings and how?
I can identify a couple of ways. The idea of bringing someone into your home. I've done that twice in my life where friends had nowhere to go and nothing to offer, but I had, 3 times. I brought people in that had nowhere to go. And as you know, recently we had even spoken about the concept of moving somebody into this exact room if need be, because we care so deeply for the people in our lives. Turned out he didn't need our help, but it was still a conversation we had. And so in that way, absolutely do I get it, right? The we can't build on, but we can give what we have to others if they need it. But the other idea that really was understandable in this story was leaving and coming back. So when in the recent past I was sold a bill of goods that there would be a promotion that would help excel my growth and blah blah blah. But within 90 days or a short period of time, everything got reversed, and I went from the place where there were messages sent out saying that, oh, I'm moving on, to now I'm right back where I just was. And the thing is, I didn't get riches in multiple measures, but what I did get was comfort, because in the return I had confidence and was able to demonstrate that while I thought the place was ready to live without me, it turned out it was not the case. And so there are, like I said, multiple ways that I can relate to the story, the characterization of the way things played out.
I was say for this one, it's just I don't.
Yeah,
I'm so
I can
young,
understand.
I don't even know.
I can understand why that you don't have a grasp on it because of being young and
Yeah.
like I said, the idea of now I think that perhaps something that can or could have at some point in your life make it come together is the idea of having to branch out and be away and then come back and
Yeah.
see how things have grown and improved. But no, I totally understand that, not understanding or relating to
Yeah.
what you went through because of where you're at in your life. I was
Yeah.
just curious if you had.
I mean, no.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like bring in my grandma moved in and my mom
Yep.
helps or so.
And so again, that's the idea of you're opening your home to someone in need, or in this case, or in her case, a prophet. In your case, family.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting to me just how the longer I live, the more things overlap and connect, and
Experiences.
yeah, exactly. You can everything compounds upon one another to where you can relate to things so far removed from where you're at.
Everything comes full circle.
That is correct. Yeah, I love that idea of full circle. What's the second question?
Has there ever been a time when you wondered where God was? How did you handle it? I feel like that's relatable to anyone, really, or any
I feel like
situation.
A lot of times that, I mean, for me, but for a lot of people, it's when they first get into their faith
Mm-hmm.
because they don't understand. Like, and I don't want to speak for people and say they don't understand, but like, it's hard to understand how everything works, and based off what you see and what you're told, you're like, oh, this was supposed to happen because I did this, but that's not actually how it works.
And you're still learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was younger and didn't understand everything, I was the same way.
I mean, just being young means that you don't understand things. That's easy.
I was
it's
like,
easy.
I prayed for this, why didn't I get it?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, and it's so funny. I struggle with the idea of praying for something. I often pray for, not for, but with gratitude.
yeah.
I mean, you've been in the room and so you know.
Yeah.
But my point is, I often pray with gratitude and less so for a specific outcome, because I just feel so selfish when I ask for a particular thing, whatever that is. Now, I will say that as much as I don't like to acknowledge it, I will say that the first time that there was a miscarriage, was the first time was the biggest time when it's like, how is this okay?
Yeah.
Like what what makes this understandable even? Let alone okay. It's not just because when people say, "Oh, it's all a part of God's plan," that's that's fine if you've lost your job. Oh, it's not where God wanted you. Okay, fine, you lost your job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say you fell and broke your arm. That's still something you can overcome. But when you lose a child to it's much harder to
Yeah.
grasp the. Thank you for being here at Mr. Super Oz. This video is going out, and this channel only exists because I, Oz, founded Gamble Comics, which first release was Everlasting Survivors, a 68-page graphic novel called All Day Long. Available now. Follow the link in the description that will take you to gamblecomics.com. While there, you can get hats, shirts, posters, much, much more. But most importantly, the story itself. It's much harder to grasp the good, if you will.
Yeah.
And now, granted, with separation, with time passing, with change, there has been a bit of, I'll say, comfort with the idea that, so I naturally think things will go for the good. I don't know why, I just do. And maybe it's because I'm alive at 39 and thus things have been good up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I naturally think things will be good. However, the broader, more grandiose concept of life, not everything goes to the good.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I look at it in that way, perhaps there was some bad that I couldn't imagine that has been prevented via this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously we won't know any time on this side of life, but it's just something that helps in the moment to reflect back or toward the concept that I or we cannot know what would have been.
Mm-hmm. Things like that are always hard. It's hard to understand and like wrap your head around the fact that that is a part of his plan.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it's like, how in the world is that ever
Yeah,
part of anyone's plan?
that's the struggle. Like I once again felt that way with the death of my mother. I literally had said to, well, more than one person I would imagine, but I said the idea, like, I can't fathom a world where my mom is needed elsewhere more than she's needed right here. But it struck me, what, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever, recently. And in no way is this anything other than, like, I don't even like that I had this realization, mind you. Keep that in mind. Like, when I say this, I'm not celebrating it. I had the realization that if the world, or if things hadn't played out the way they did, this channel would not exist. And so it was the loss of my mother that was the push that made me go all in on what she believed I could do. Write, draw, tell stories, basically. I wish that I hadn't been so ridiculous that it took the loss of her support for me to believe in myself the way that she did. But looking back, it was that loss that caused me to come at things more relentlessly and without regard for it's I almost treat things like there is no such thing as failure. Like, I know that I have not yet succeeded, but I treat everything like it's going to work. I just don't know when. Whether it be stories I write, things I draw, videos I make, like I just treat things like it's going to work. I just don't know when, and it's so weird. It's like I think I heard somebody say before that America's full of people who are poor but believe that they will be rich some point in their life, and that's just how I feel like I live. Is that not necessarily rich, but like it's going to work at some point. Like I said, there are those clear moments where I was like, what is your plan, God? Why is this happening this way? Whether I understand or not doesn't change the fact that it is the way that things happen, and so I must live with the truth, the reality, the way life is, and not the way that I want it to be or wanted it to be. What is the final question?
After reading this story, can you see the importance of persevering in faith and obedience?
The answer to the question is yes, but I'm going to expound upon the yes because it's content. But more importantly, the idea of obedience to me is so important. And when I say what I'm about to say, do not think that I'm being impolite to people who say the things that I'm about to talk against. When people say I believe in Jesus, right? Or I believe in God. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's good. I'm not saying it's bad to believe, but do you obey is perhaps a much more important question, and here's why. Satan believes in God. Satan believes that Jesus is the Son of God, and yet it does not affect the way that the enemy acts or goes toward anything. And thus, if you believe and do not obey, does it matter that you believe? It matters that you obey what is set down through the ages to be the right. Now, and in no way am I saying that people are perfect. Like, obviously people make mistakes, but the difference between making a mistake and willfully choosing to do wrong is that when you slip up, you want to do right by, your Lord and Savior and get back on the right, get to the right path. Whereas to just say, oh, I believe, and then still do whatever I want, no matter what, it's like, that's almost like, I don't know, it kind of feels like cheating. Concept of obey is so very important.
Because I feel as if that the obeying, you think that you can go and confess and then go do whatever you want and then come back and keep confessing. And
Yeah,
it's
no.
a never-ending cycle.
And it's never-ending cycle.
Yeah,
I feel like you don't really learn the obedient part of and correcting your action because you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
Well, it's because, what was it Vincent said? If Jesus isn't Lord of all, is he Lord at all? And I was like, that's a great line. Not only is it a great line, but it's a great representation of the concept of obeying. Because if you don't, like, let's say you're at work, right? And you don't do what your boss says, does his authority matter? So that's the same concept to me, or not same, but similar concept on a much broad, grander scale here, that if you don't attempt to do all that is within your ability to do what God wants, then is he Lord at all? Or is it just make believe show stuff? And like that's what's bothersome to me. Is like, what was the author's closing verse of the week?
And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed a certain officer for her, saying, restore all that was hers and all that proceeds of the field from the day that she left in the land until now.
I like the idea of all being restored.
Mhm.
Like the idea that you can lose all and yet it can
Oh, that was,
come back.
sorry, that was 2 Kings 8:6.
Yeah. Like I said, I enjoy that idea, that concept that it's not hopeless, not all hope is lost
Yeah.
kind of idea.